Hey everybody, welcome to the 21st episode of the Open One podcast. And today I'm joined by Oliver Anwar, who, well, he was in Barbados last time we spoke, but now he's unfortunately back in the UK. So how you doing, Oliver?
I'm good, thank you, Travis. Appreciate you having me on the podcast today.
It's good to have you on, bro. And I know you're the man on Twitter, but also the man against burpees, and also does a pretty cool, pretty cool coaching business. So yeah, we'd like to just give it a bit of an introduction to what it is you're doing.
Yeah, sure. So my name is Oliver Anwar, and I run a health coaching business called Elite Performance. And I basically help entrepreneurs and high performers optimize their health, fitness, and performance so they can look great, feel great, and be great. So I've been doing it for the past 6 years. And if you see me, you've probably seen me on Twitter, where is kind of like my main social media channel, posting lots of content on health optimization and how to really do it in a time efficient way without all the bullshit, without the BS, in a sustainable way. Because I think for a lot of people, fitness can be a crash, right? They do it for a few weeks, and especially people that are highly stressed, they just can't keep up with it consistently. So for me, it's about building a personalized approach to their health, giving out the right information, and then actually doing something that is sustainable so they can carry this on going forward as they get into their older age.
Sounds great. And so, what's it been as a business for you? What sort of success have you had with people?
Yeah, good question. So we work with kind of a vast array of people and entrepreneurs. So it could be anyone from a doctor, it could be a lawyer as clients. We have people running, multi-million pound businesses as clients as well. So there's a vast array of people, but a lot of these clients are focused on just getting healthier. You find that the result for most of these clients is going from where they've prioritized their business and that for a longer period of their life or their job, and really just getting to the point where they can be less stressed, reduce that extra bit of weight, get a little bit more focus, energy levels, and just kind of feel confident again as well. Because a lot of these guys, we predominantly work with guys, have beaten themselves up for a long time because they've
Yeah.
put all their energy into their career, into their business, into their family, and they've kind of seen like, whoa, right, like now if I don't make a change to my health and I don't take ownership of it, what's going to happen is I might not be around for the next 10 to 15 years, right? It can be very serious for some of these guys. So really what we're trying to do is reverse the adverse effects that running the business has on their health, and really giving them like I said, a sustainable blueprint to lose fat, build muscle, manage stress better, sleep better, have more focus, and all of that kind of stuff.
Sounds good, man. Sounds very good. And so, what was the inspiration to start this?
Great question. So the inspiration to start was actually when I was at university. So I went to university in central London, and I was a broke student at the time, and I'd developed a pretty half decent physique just from kind of training and really from a lot of the insecurities I had growing up. So I mean, I played up playing football as a young guy. I was quite decent, and I had dreams of making it as a professional. When I got to 16, 17, that actually didn't happen, which at the time actually broke my heart. It was so hard to take because all of my life, all of my childhood was playing football. It was
Yeah.
weekends going to games, training 3 or 4 days a week, all of that kind of stuff. And then I didn't make it as a professional at 16, 17. So I went to a college full of big rugby players after I finished kind of playing football. And I realized I was the short, skinny guy that was insecure about the fact he hadn't made it as a professional, wasn't confident to talk to girls. And I was surrounded by big rugby players, man. So I was like, shit, I need to get some muscle on me, right? I need to get bigger to feel more confident and fill this void of insecurity. So what happened was I started training in the gym 6 days a week. I made tons of mistakes, as most people probably do when they start working out. I injured myself, had a bad dieting approach, all of these kinds of things. And through that, I started saying, right, well, I better actually start looking at some of the evidence behind this. I better start researching some of the science behind what I'm doing, what some of the best people in the industry are doing that are very reputable, and start actually executing it in that respect. Once I did that, no more injuries. I started to skyrocket my progress. And by the time I got to university, I built a pretty good physique. And I was getting lots of people kind of ask questions to me, right? They're like, hey, man, I want
Yeah,
to get in
that's a
shape in a
good sign.
holiday.
Yeah.
Like when you start getting the feedback from others, they're like, how do I get in shape for a holiday? I was like, okay, cool. I'm getting a lot of people message me online and in kind of university ask me questions. I thought, you know what? I'm going to see what I can do here to maybe share what I'm doing. So I initially started with the idea to build a blog whilst I was at university one summer. I was sat on my friend's sofa and he was like, look, you can get this website for like 99 pence or something crazy. So I said, okay, I'm going to buy it. The broke ass student bought it. And I spent the whole summer basically building this website on WordPress, not really having a clue how to do it, watching YouTube tutorials, like just harassing my mate, asking him how to do certain things. But by the end of the summer, I kind of built something that was supposed to be a blog, was a full website that could kind of show what I did, offered like a fitness coaching package, and could actually take payment. So I got all of my friends on the day of launch to launch this on Facebook and share it like wide with all their friends. I remember on the first night, I actually got a sale, right? This is crazy. I was
Oh,
sat in my
nice.
room back at home, and I got a sale on my first night. I think it was for like $100. So not a lot. And
Yeah, but
man,
anyone who's been in entrepreneurship, that first sale is just magical, right? Just like, wow, this
man,
actually worked. The website worked. Did all the marketing, ding, ding, ding.
exactly, man. And like, I wasn't expecting anything, man. Seriously, I was just built this website. I was like, if I get some good feedback, I'll be happy. And I got a sale on the first day. I remember seeing my PayPal account. I was like, what the fuck? This is crazy. So I got a bit of imposter syndrome, but then I thought, you know what? At the same time, there's a little bit of scope for this to potentially be successful. So I started running it alongside my university studies. I had a lot of passion for it. I then finished university. My business wasn't making enough money for me to really take it full time. So I worked a corporate job alongside kind of doing this. And this was really one of the most stressful times of my life. So I was waking up at 6 a.m., doing a 12-hour day, coming back, going to the gym, finishing, and then kind of working on my business until about 12, 1 a.m. And one of the issues was I found that the corporate life was just so restrictive, man. It just wasn't for me. I just hated it. I hated the office politics. I hated the lack of freedom. So I said, fuck this, I'm going to quit. And with minimal savings and not really that much income coming in from my business, I quit. So I did this for a few months and it felt great. I had a lot more time on my hands. But what happened after a few months is money started drying up and I couldn't pay my rent, right? So I was going broke. And this was a pretty much a low point, right? I'd quit this corporate job that was paying me a decent money to pursue my business. And I was there kind of on my ass, right? So luckily, one of my friends had a vending machine business. So I decided to fill vending machines for like 2 or 3 months. And this was a crazy experience, man. Like getting like money, like I was getting paid in cash to drive around the south of London, putting Kit Kats in vending machines at bus stations, factories, all of these places. And I would like to have thought of myself as like a fairly well-educated guy. I mean, I did well at university, I did well in my GCSEs, and I don't think I'm that much of an idiot. And I was there doing the lowest paid, like low skilled job that I could. But at the same time, it humbled me, man. It made me realize that I wasn't actually better than that, and that I could take some kind of pride in what I did. So I worked really hard during my job. I treated everybody with respect, like you should do with anything, and I kept grinding every day. I would do a 12-hour shift from 4 a.m. to 4 p.m. I'd then finish, go to the gym, and work on my business. So this again was a pretty tough time of my life because
Yeah. How long did you keep up that schedule for? And how
yeah,
many
so
days a week? Was that like 5, 6 days a week?
yeah, so about 5 days a week,
Yeah.
and that was like for 2 or 3 months. So that was pretty crazy. Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty tough stuff for that period of time. Yeah, so I started doing that for that time, and then after a while, things began to pick up with my business. I got a mentor who was one of my old lecturers at university. He started helping me out, and I started getting some traction with my business. And this was a kind of the shifting point where I thought, actually, I don't need to fill vending machines anymore. I can actually start working on my business full time. So that happened towards the end of 2018, beginning of 2019, and yeah, in the past sort of nearly 4 years, we've really scaled my business up. I mean, I've gained over 100,000 followers over social media. I'm working with clients all over the world now,
That's awesome.
based
Yeah.
in the US, Canada, Australia, Singapore. It's great. Obviously, people in here in the UK too. And now it's my full-time thing. And we're starting to scale things up nicely. And the goal really is to help as many entrepreneurs and high performers transform their health over the next years that kind of come, because I think especially for guys that are working super hard in their career, health can take a back seat. And if I can give them a blueprint or a way to help these people moving forward, I feel that I've done my kind of good bit in the world to help people and make a positive impact.
That's awesome, man. That's very, very inspiring. And just a word of warning to any women that are watching right now, bear in mind, check this out. Look at that for a transformation. Isn't that what's the time difference between these two photos?
Yeah, so this one on the left was me filling vending machines. That was back in 2018. It was,
Uh-huh.
and then this one on the right, this was me actually this year in Mykonos. So this year I've actually been able to travel. I think I've been to like 8 different countries this year. No, I think it's more 9 different countries this year, and that was me in Mykonos this year traveling, which was pretty cool. So about 4 years between each photo.
Nice, man. That's amazing. So then, what is it about burpees, man? Because I see this come up. I'm sure it's just a joke, okay? But what is it specifically about burpees that's come out of nowhere?
Yeah, good question. So I just wanted to wind a few people up, to be honest, mate. That's the absolute truth. I was bored on Twitter one day. I thought, oh, let's tweet about burpees and see what happens. No, but in all seriousness, I mean, burpees have been used in a lot of the military, right? For training people to work hard. And they are hard, right? Like burpees are difficult. Like they make you sweat. You're throwing yourself on the floor and things like that. And what you see recently and throughout maybe the past 10 years is a lot of like personal trainers using burpees for general population of people. Now, burpees probably isn't the most effective exercise for people that just want to lose a bit of fat, right? Like if you're a Marine and you need to throw yourself on the ground really quickly because you're getting shot at, burpees seem to be quite effective for that. But if you're Karen, the 40-year-old lady that just wants to lose a bit of weight for a holiday to Spain, you don't need to be throwing yourself on the floor and putting your joints and your body at risk. And that's really, I think, where the big thing is when this exercise is done excessively and it's done with people that are potentially overweight and you know they've got a lot of pressure on their joints and things like that. When they're throwing themselves on the floor, it really isn't an effective exercise for cardiovascular fitness, preserving your joints, or for building muscle and strength, right? There are plenty of ways to do those 3 things without putting your hips out and having to go see a chiropractor every few months, right? So this was kind of like
Right.
my
So there's more behind it than I thought.
absolutely, yeah, for sure. I mean, the headline definitely took people by surprise and obviously caused a bit of controversy, right? But you know what people are like nowadays. They see a headline that they hate and they go crazy. So the explanation behind it is kind of that really. It's from a health point of view and the fact that it's not the most efficient way to either build a cardiovascular capacity or be safe or build muscle, right? That was kind of the point that I made with it.
Okay, cool. I'm glad we ironed that out.
Yeah.
Uh, and so there's a couple things I'm going to go through here that I've seen from your social media that I was interested to get more of your opinion about. Um, we'll start with so I remember seeing, I think it was one of your videos, or you was talking about I can't remember who this man was, but he was someone who was into polyamory and he likes having lots of wives or women or girlfriends or whatever. And then I remember you saying that you don't really want to conduct your relationships in that way. Would you like to expand on why you wouldn't want to do that?
Yeah, good question. So this is actually referring to a video I did with about Andrew Tate. So I got to meet Andrew Tate back in March, and I think he likes to have multiple women in his life, which is great, like multiple girlfriends and things like that. I just think from like a point of view, like I've before dated like multiple women at each time, or like 1 or 2 girls at once, and I think for like a long-term relationship, I do think like monogamous relationship for me would work quite well, especially when I'm thinking about having kids and having a family in the future. I just think it's doing like your kids and like the wife that you love a bit of a disservice if you're going around and you're banging hoes every weekend, right? Or you've got a mistress. I just don't think that like that's what a healthy relationship looks like in my eyes, right? And that's kind of just my opinion on it. So I think like for me, I just think as well, like one woman is enough stress, man. I don't need any more, bro.
Yes. Yeah, there's a great analogy. Someone was saying, yeah, everyone wants multiple wives, but then they get them, and it's like, holy shit! And it's like having three wives, but only one charger. So
Yeah.
this doesn't, there's a lot of work. So it sounds
Yeah, I mean,
nice. And
some men can do it, and I respect that, but maybe not me, man. Someone else can sign up for that.
so what was it? How did you end up meeting Tate? Was that just by chance, or because there's a picture on your Instagram of you smoking Cubans. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, man, this is a crazy story. So, me and Tate followed each other on Twitter before he got, well, one of his accounts got banned, and I actually posted a video saying I was in Prague because I went to visit for a week, and he just DM'd me out of the blue on Twitter to say, "Hey, man, I'm in Prague. Do you fancy meeting up for some food or dinner or coffee or just catching up, man?" So I was like, "Sweet, man, let's do it." So He wasn't free the one day. He was really busy with some stuff. But then we met the next day, and yeah, we just went for a cigar, and we drank some Negronis, and basically just spoke about life, the world, affairs, things that are going on. Some of the things that we both kind of cross, also have similar views on, such as like fitness, mindset, that kind of stuff. And yeah, I met him for I think it was a few hours. We were hanging out. Yeah, it was completely out of the blue, man. So yeah, that's kind of how that story started.
Yeah, because I see what he's putting out there, and I think he's doing a lot of good stuff. I mean, he has taken quite a bad rap, and there are some people who just get like instantly triggered. You mentioned the word Tate, and it's like all of these alarm bells go off. I remember once I was actually I was at a friend's house, and she's a woman, and I was listening to a podcast with Tate, and she sort of came in the room. And was like, oh, oh, I just walked out. Oh, it was really funny.
Yeah, I mean, the issue is, right, being completely honest, a lot of people fail to discern, right? So they see a clip that Tate puts out, and yes, he says stuff in a very controversial, and you could say a way that kind of brings people's necks up on the back, hairs up on the back of their neck, right? It's very like confrontational, and yeah, he maybe doesn't go about saying things in the way that people like, but if you look past that, his overall message of wanting people to, especially men, to have self-respect, to work hard, to want to look after the people around them, to go to the fucking gym, have a good mindset, to push themselves, I think is a very healthy message. And also on the flip side, when he says stuff about women, saying like, women shouldn't be sleeping around and doing lots of crazy stuff and disrespecting themselves in that way, I don't think that's a bad message either, right? To like preserve your self-respect as a woman, right? But a lot of people don't see things that way. They kind of take things out of context. They label him in certain ways, and it's because he tells the truth about stuff, man. He tells the truth about stuff, and sometimes it's not nice to hear, right? If someone's telling you to get up, go to the gym, earn some money, stop being a pussy, right? Get your shit together. For a lot of guys, that's kind of a big wake-up call they don't want to hear. So again, if someone doesn't like it, they're gonna repel that, right? And they're gonna call him this and that. And the same with women, right? Women will have certain views, especially extreme feminists, on the way they should conduct themselves. And because Tate has a different view on that, obviously the feminists give him a bad rap for it. But I think anyone with a rational mind can see that you don't have to agree with everything he says, but his overall message of being a respectable male and being a respectable female is a healthy message to have. And you don't have to agree with every view that he has to see that it's a positive message.
Absolutely, and it ties in nicely to another segment, because there seems to be a bit of a difference between if a man sleeps around and if a woman sleeps around. And what are your thoughts on that? Because admit it's easier for a woman to get sex, and for a man most of the time, they have to be a man of status or value, or go through and put a bit more effort in. So, what are your thoughts about that?
Well, I think the first thing is like men and women are different, and men are better at some things and women are better at other things. And like, I don't think that's a bad thing to really outline, because really, like, men, right, that men are different to women, and with women especially, like the sexual marketplace, right? The women are the gatekeepers to the sexual marketplace, right? So they decide whether they want to have sex with a man, right? Because most men will sleep with lots of women, right? But as a woman, you have to kind of protect that and be like, okay, only a guy of high value should be sleeping with me, or I'm gonna like make sure that I'm not sleeping around because that reduces my value, right? So it's very hard for a man to get high quality women and sleep with lots of women, because the competition's hard, right? Like, I think there's that stat that says like 20% of the men get 80% of the women, or something crazy,
Yep.
right? So to get into that top 20% as a man is very difficult. You got to do a lot of the things that Tate says: go to the gym, that have discipline, have a good mindset, build your body, right? Build your income, be good socially, have a good network. That doesn't just happen, right? Like, it takes years of work to do that. And I'll even, share that when I was younger, man, the amount of girls I've been rejected by, the amount of DMs that I never got answered to, the amount of times I've been left on red by girls because I wasn't of a status where girls would even like take me seriously, right? But as a girl, any girl will get attention from a guy, right? She could be super beautiful, but she could even not be really beautiful, and guys will still hit on her, right? Because like, they are the gatekeepers to the sexual marketplace. So as a woman, you should, in my opinion, be respectful of your body, be respectful of yourself, right? And maybe not sleep around with loads and loads of people. I mean, if you want to do it, that's fine. But know that a guy is going to judge you for that, right? Same as a guy, right? If you haven't got your shit together, you haven't got any money, you got a poor mindset, you don't have a good body, the woman's going to judge you for that, right? It's the way that kind of the world works. And I think that there can't be double standards there. If a woman expects a certain thing from a man, then a man should expect a certain thing from a woman. I think that that's only fair, because after all, people are fighting for equality, and that's what they want. So I think that that's my view on it. Men and women are fundamentally different in lots of different ways, and we should understand that, and we should, as a man and woman, both have respect for ourselves in our different realms.
Absolutely, brother. Well put. And so this is something that I've never seen so much of until I got into Twitter. And personally, of all the big social media, this is the one I've had the least success on. So it's only been recently I've been really getting into it, and that's how I found you and many others. But I've never seen so much semen retention as I've seen on Twitter. You know what I'm talking about? And what I liked about your post is, okay, you mentioned it that it might be beneficial in some ways, but you're actually an advocate of having fucking sex. I'm like, yes, right. Where does this all come from?
I don't know, man. I think there's a big drive in this Twitter space for people to be very esoteric, right? So to be different from everybody else, they want to be like, I do this crazy stuff, right? I sun my balls, right? Like I don't jack off for months, like they're like this Zen kind of person that does all this crazy shit, and it gives them some sense of importance and status. And a lot of the big guys, they use it as marketing, right? To market themselves differently. But if we're being completely honest here, I mean, yeah, semen retention, I get the idea, right? Like you shouldn't be wanking 5 times a day or jacking off all the time, because that's not healthy. That's not good for your testosterone. That's not good for your intimate relationships. It's not good for use of time. It's definitely not good for your penis, right? Because it's going to hurt. So just maybe just don't jack off loads. We get that point. But the idea of semen retention, I think, especially for a lot of young men that are there, it's a bit of a cope, right? Like instead of going out and going on dates with women, putting themselves out there,
right? I'm not getting laid, so I'll call it semen retention.
Right? Yeah, it's a cope, right? It's a cope. Yeah. So these guys do that, and I think it's important to, yes, maybe not jack off all the time. And there's even research to say if you don't ejaculate for 7 days, then that will boost your testosterone by like 146%. So if your testosterone is low, then maybe just don't ejaculate for 7 days, right? Like that's not a lot. But I mean, to really go months and months without approaching a woman or having sex with a woman or doing any of that kind of stuff is just stupid, man. Like that's something I'll never advocate. So I always say, like, don't worry about no nut November. Worry about have sex with a beautiful woman November, right? Like that's a better motto to have. And just don't jack off as much. I think that's just an easy way to approach things.
So that's interesting, because you actually have an ebook about testosterone, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So obviously you must know quite a bit about it, and that's an interesting statistic. So if you don't ejaculate 7 days, that will increase your testosterone. But actually, what about having sex with a woman? Surely I feel that it can just make me feel like more of a fucking man. That must boost your T, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of studies and research out there, and obviously I've just quoted a study there, but like I know people that are some of the most high testosterone, energetic people in the world, and like they're having sex every day. They're fucking every day, right? So again, this is context, right? And I think that there's nothing that beats having sex with a beautiful woman, right? I don't think that there is, right? That doesn't mean that you're a sex addict, right? And you have to be doing it 10 times a day, but think of it as what gives you energy. And I know that gives me energy, right? So I know that I don't need to do semen retention if I'm having a emotional sex with the person I'm connected with, right? I think that that's amazing and everybody should do it. So, there's a lot of gray areas with this, but I think just generally human interaction and more men having sex with beautiful women in good relationships is a healthy thing. And I think we should worry about that much more than fucking semen retention.
Yes. And that's an important point you mentioned there, because obviously you got like different kinds of sex. It could be a whole nother level if you actually have a bit of an emotional connection there. I mean, you don't have to be in love, but you can just have like an actual deeper connection there, and
that's right.
Can completely change. I mean, personally, from my experience, it can be like a whole different level. And I know it's good. It's if afterwards I don't just want to run away, I actually want to stay there and hold the woman and cuddle, and even if I have that feeling of run away, I don't actually do that, but I can just see it in my mind. It's like, I can see that we obviously must have bonded there a little bit to make me just want to actually stay with you.
Exactly, man. It's human connection, and it doesn't mean you have to be going around banging hookers, right, and giving them fucking £200 after. Like, I'm definitely not advocating for that. Like, have a good, connection with the the person that you're having sex with, man. I think that that's a healthy thing for most people to want to strive for.
And so, what are the other ways that men can boost their T levels?
Yeah, so you probably know that now we're in a bit of a pandemic when it comes to testosterone. So
Yeah.
testosterone levels are the lowest it's ever been. Testosterone, first and foremost, it's one of the hormones that regulates kind of sex drive. It regulates like how we age. So testosterone is actually anti-aging as well. It's gonna affect things such as your skin, your mood, your energy levels. Most importantly, it's going to impact things such as brain fog, right? So for a
Yeah,
lot of
that was
people
one
that
that really twigged it for me. I was like, wow, I didn't realize it could have an impact on your mind so much.
Yeah, so the biggest symptom of low testosterone levels is brain fog, right? So when people they can't think clearly, they're overly stressed, they've got no clarity of thought. That's because usually it's down to low testosterone levels, which is crazy. So a lot of people think, oh, low testosterone's man, like I'm not a meathead, I don't need to care about that. Actually, if you're a
Yeah.
entrepreneur or you're a high level person that really doesn't even care about muscles, you should optimize your testosterone simply for the focus and mental clarity that it's going to give you each day. So the ways that I would kind of focus on increasing testosterone, number one is just getting leaner, right? So I always say the sweet spot for your body fat should be between 10 to 15%. If a man can get themselves down there, that's great, because the leaner you are, the more optimal your testosterone levels are going to be. Obviously, coupling that with building muscle and lifting weight. So if you can build more muscle, strength training is shown to increase testosterone levels. More muscle is shown to increase testosterone levels as well. So that's really important. Sleep is very important as well. So aiming to get 8 hours of sleep a night, 7 to 8 hours is vital for testosterone production. Men that get 5 hours or less sleep can see a huge decline in their overall testosterone levels. So again, trying to bump that up to 7, 8 hours is going to be really important. From a diet perspective, again, not cutting calories too low and not eating too many calories. So again, it's finding that middle ground where you're eating a good amount of protein, you're eating roughly enough calories to do a lean bulk if your goal is to bulk up. Maintaining if you want to maintain, or a small calorie surplus if you want to kind of burn that fat off, right? If you're a little bit overweight. So that should really be kind of the focus for that. Again, getting lots of good fats in, healthy kind of protein, carbohydrates as well will help with that too, increase in testosterone. So those are really important. Sunlight as well is very important. So trying to get as much sun as you can every day will be helpful for testosterone. Also, just creatine. Creatine is shown to improve testosterone levels. So taking creatine each day will help. We've mentioned again, not ejaculating too much. That can be useful. And then just generally having a healthy lifestyle where you're active and that you exercise. So this could be cardiovascular exercise. This could be movement. This could be, basically moving will be very effective for testosterone. So a lot of those that I mentioned there will be kind of the best steps for optimizing test levels.
Okay, cool. And there's also something that I've only recently come across this past year that sort of was, I don't know, interesting for my mind perspective on just weightlifting and how that can actually help with fat loss.
Yeah, for sure. So
Interesting, right?
yeah, really interesting. So when we think about weight loss, right, a lot of people focus on weight loss. So weight loss is losing overall weight. So weight can be anything. It can be, body fat, it could be muscle, but fat loss is different. You want to lose body fat. Now, to lose body fat, what you need to do is you need to retain the muscle that you've got. So when your body is dieting, it loses fat. So focusing on weight training, and this is why it's one of the biggest factors in the programs I have, weight trainings, because when we want to lose body fat, we're doing weight training, we're going to retain that muscle. If we're eating enough protein and weightlifting, we're really going to retain and build the muscle on our body. And then the excess calories that we don't need are going to go from fat. So it makes sense for us to really prioritize muscle mass, weight training, and a good diet when we want to lose fat, because we're going to keep the muscle we've got, cut off that fat, and that's how we get that lean tone physique that everybody's looking for. So there's that view that, right, you should be doing tons of cardio, cutting your calories really low, starving yourself. That's probably the old-fashioned way of doing weight loss, and actually maybe one of the worst ways of doing it. So that's kind of my view on weight training there, and why it's important for fat loss.
Interesting. And do you practice anything like meditation or anything like that, like yoga, anything like that?
Yeah, so I practice a lot of stretching. So I do a lot of stretching. I wouldn't say it's quite yoga because I'm definitely not up to that. I'm still a bit of a meathead. But
I'm still trying to figure out what's the main difference, bro. Maybe I guess it's the mindfulness breathing aspect, but I suspect
yeah,
they call it yoga sometimes.
I think yoga's just a bit more routine, a bit more structured. It's definitely very mindful. I mean, I quite a busy guy, so I'm in a rush when I'm doing my stretching, which I should probably relax a lot more. But yeah, stretching is something I do. Meditation is something that I focus on as well. So especially during periods in which I kind of use meditation ad hoc, right? When I'm feeling like I can't think very well, I'm very overwhelmed. That's the time for me to be very relaxed and meditate. But I think there's different forms of meditation, man. Like you
Oh,
could be
there's so
walking in a
many,
park,
yes, and
you
depending
know,
what you want to get out of it, what technique yeah, there's huge
that's it.
variation.
I mean, like I just think sometimes going in and walking in a park on my own or in nature on my own is meditative, right? Like I don't have my phone on me. There's nobody there. If I go to like a big bit of greenery, right, and just walk through there, and the only thing that I can hear are the sounds of the birds, or sometimes even not. It's just me walking along, and for me, that is very meditative for me, and that helps me relax my mind, solve problems, have better clarity of thought. Yeah, I think that that's something I use a lot.
And there's if you got another book about sleeping and getting most effective sleep, is that right?
Yeah, so it's a course called Sleep
Oh, it's a course.
Masterclass.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah.
So give us a quick rundown. What's the best ways to get good sleep?
Yeah, so the top three things that you want to focus on with optimal sleep are making sure that you optimize these three things: light, noise, and sound. Okay. Sorry, light, noise, and temperature are the top three things. So you want to ensure that your room is obviously dark, right? In regards to light, because we need to sleep in a dark environment to fall asleep. The second thing is noise. So we also want our room to be quiet, or wherever we sleep to be quiet. So making sure that you soundproof your room, or even just having like earbuds in will be really useful. And then the third thing is temperature. So you want your room to be quite cool when you go to bed, because your brain needs to drop in temperature by a few degrees to actually fall asleep. So if you can optimize those three things, that's a great foundation for a better sleep to begin with. Then the next level is trying to refrain from things such as blue light. So if you've got like you're working late, like we both are now, you're trying to have a night shift on your Mac, which kind of reduces the blue light, switching your
Yeah.
monitor to blue light mode. And I've got them here, but I'm not wearing them because of the reflection. But yeah, we've got some blue light blocking glasses here as well,
Oh yeah.
which are cool. So put these on, these will actually block out the blue light, which is pretty cool. So
I've heard of
if
them.
you're
Yeah, I've never actually seen someone use them. Nice.
yeah, they're pretty cool, man. So again, like just refraining from blue light, because what happens is to fall asleep, we need something called melatonin, right? Melatonin, and when there's blue light, that actually inhibits melatonin, and we can't fall asleep. So this is why guys that are working up really, really late can't go to bed, because they're not getting the melatonin release they need because of the blue light. So yeah, just trying to like optimize those factors is important. Getting not too much caffeine in the afternoon will help as well, because too much caffeine before bed will be an issue. Having a comfortable environment to sleep in that's relaxing, and yeah, just having some kind of wind down time before you go to bed. I think that's big, especially if you're an entrepreneur or someone that's busy. It's easy to be working super, super late. Like for me, I'm going to clock off after this, and that'll be like my last bit of work tonight. And then I've got an hour to relax, chill, maybe 2 hours, and then I can fall asleep early and wake up early. And having that wind down time will really help you, especially if you've got a lot on your mind and you're an entrepreneur and things like that.
Yeah, I can see myself in your eyes.
Yeah, that's what I mean, man. So they're not great for the podcast, but usually when I'm working, I have them on. Yeah.
And yeah, you mentioned melatonin there. That's so key. So do you recommend supplementing with melatonin? You ever tried that?
Yeah, I mean, I personally haven't, but I know people that have had good results from doing it. It can really knock you out for sleep. I mean, I much prefer magnesium biglycinate, which you probably heard of on the Twitter space. A lot of people promoting. So, magnesium, a lot of people are deficient in magnesium, so I'd highly recommend people just take that as a staple supplement. But biglycinate is actually one of the most digestible forms of magnesium, so you're going to digest it well. And the glycinate in there, what that's going to allow you to do is fall asleep a lot quicker and actually have a deeper sleep. So when I take magnesium glycinate, I kind of call it like the dreams supplement, right? Because when you take it, you fall into that latter stage of sleep called REM sleep. And REM sleep is where all your memories form, like cognitive function is repaired and things like that. So the glycinate actually helps you fall into that stage a lot better. So when you have more REM sleep, you wake up the next day with much more focus, right? You're able to perform, you're cognitively sharp, you know what's going on because you've had more REM sleep. So again, as an entrepreneur or a high performer, getting as much REM sleep as you can is going to be vital for you when it comes to, being at your best and performing at work or at home.
And are there any other supplements that you use?
Yeah, so I actually did a thread on this yesterday, but I think from supplementation, creatine is a great supplement, which I've already mentioned. Whey protein, it's not really a supplement; it's a food substitute, which can be good. L-arginine or L-citrate, L-arginine, sorry. There's the two forms. Can be good for getting a pump at the gym and things like that, and that's obviously shown to build more muscle. Omega-3 can be good if you don't get enough fish. That can be useful as well. Magnesium we've already spoken about. And really, that's it for me, man. I mean, vitamin D for people, especially in the UK,
Well,
and in
yes.
yeah, in this
Yeah.
climate, man, definitely have some vitamin D. But I think the less supplements, kind of really the better. Like, I'd like to have, I'd say maybe 5 staples that I take, and the rest is just a good, healthy whole foods diet, man, with a varied amount of like protein, carbs, and fats, like I mentioned. And a variety of kind of like vegetables, meat, carbs, that kind of thing can be really good. So, yeah, that's kind of my view on supplements.
Okay, cool. And so, on your experience of being an entrepreneur and building your business, do you have any tips for anyone? Like your top 3 things you'd say that this is what I've learned, don't do this, or any advice?
Good question. I mean, I guess like the first one is as early as you can try and get like mentors or people on board, or even pay for coaching for people that are gonna kind of take you to the next stage as quickly as possible, because trial and error is important. And I think when you're starting out and you don't have much cash or much experience, learning through trial and error is good. It's going to help build, most importantly, your character and your mindset, because you're going to overcome challenges and learn that you can get through them. But if you can skip that step and actually get someone that can fast track you to the next level, is a really good strategy. So that's one of the things that I definitely recommend. I'd also recommend trying to go and pick a market, right, or pick an industry where you're always going to be in demand, right? So for me, like fitness, I always know I'm going to be in demand. There's always going to be people that are overweight, unhealthy, that want to get in shape and optimize their health. But I've also picked a market of people that have a good income, right? So people that are entrepreneurs, a lot of them run businesses, that most of them are going to have a good amount of money, so they're always going to have money to invest in their health. So I think picking a good market and picking a good industry, to be honest, is really useful for business. And my third tip is to really build your network, right? So this is so important. The amount of people that have helped me out throughout the course of the past 6 years since I've been running my business have been crazy. So go on people's podcasts. You never know when someone's podcast might blow up, right? Get your name out there as much as possible. Send DMs to people. Go for coffee with people. Have good experiences with people, right? Try and offer value to people, and just build up a network of people that you've met that are able to help you out maybe in the future, and that you're able to help as well, because that's how you get things done, is by you helping someone else, them helping you, them introducing you to them, somebody telling you about this. All of these things are how you solve problems. You don't solve them just on your own. So yeah, those would be my top 3 tips.
Absolutely, they're good tips, bro. And yeah, I can relate. Just recently, I through the Twitter world, for a retweet here from something here, and I found a really good webinar that was for free, and they had some offerings after that. But it was like, wow, I got so much value just from some random tweets that I never would have found otherwise. It's like it's really amazing what you can find. And so, what's it going to be like for you in like 5 years? Where do you see yourself? How do you see your business progressing, and what's the future like for you?
Oh, great question. So at the minute, we're at the process of kind of scaling the business up. So we've got other people working in the background doing certain things with the business. We've got another coach as well that comes and helps manage clients. So looking to really just build a team around the business, so I can keep focusing on scaling things up and growing on all platforms, really. So really growing my digital footprint online and reaching more people to tell them what I do about my business, letting people and entrepreneurs and high performers know about my service, how I can help them, and helping hopefully millions of people with their health. That's really the goal over the next 5-10 years. It's definitely a ambitious goal, but I think you should set those, and
Yes,
that's where I see it. Looking to maybe move out of the UK as well in the next few years, which I'd
don't
be
blame you.
living kind of in different places to see where I'd like. So that's definitely a goal from a lifestyle point of view. But just keep being healthy, man. Keep learning, keep pushing, and grow a great business that helps people, man. That's the goal over the next 5 years.
That's brilliant, man. So power to you. Anything else you want to share with the people? I still got you here.
No, man, that's really it. Thanks for having me on, dude. Appreciate it.
Been a pleasure to pick your brain. Cheers, Oliver.